Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, outsiders and in-betweeners. My name is Cameron Harris, and I am running for mayor of Chicago in the 2027 election cycle. Tonight, we are having chicken korma. We need to discuss our migrants, our recent migrant residents. I really do not like the language surrounding them. I don't like calling them migrants because it sets the wrong precedent for like who these people are. Like they aren't leaving Chicago and we will not be forcing them out. So calling them migrants is wrong because they're not going any further than here. My opinion on our like I don't really know any other words to use for them other than like newly homeless compared to our legacy homeless folks, both of which are like terrible terms. But I wonder a lot about those people. You know, like we've all seen them on, street corners, on public transportation. Some people are selling candy, some people are panhandling. But I wonder how we expect these people to find their own footing because the first two jobs I ever had, I had to provide proof of my high school GED. Like I had to submit like a photocopy of my high school GED. And when our new citizens arrived into America, they did not come with, like their birth certificates, a copy of their like transcripts and high school GED education, whatever the equivalent would be. They didn't have, yeah, they didn't magically get given social security numbers or like an individual taxpayer identification number, your ITIN. So how do we expect these people to support themselves? Because in the framework of like jobs that we currently live in, they can't get one because they can't finish the hiring process, right? I also wonder a lot about the money the city claims to have given these people. I wonder a lot about like how did the city, like how did Mayor Brendan Johnson give money to these people? Because they don't have bank accounts. Like have you guys tried to talk to them? I mean, like really, like we run, like it's so like you run into them into the grocery store and again on public transportation, and if you try and have like casual conversation with these people, like the language barrier is immense. Like very few of them speak communicatable English. My view for them is the same as our current homeless. That these people should be taken in and provided for, made official citizens and residents made official residents of the city of Chicago and official citizens of the United States of America. You know, their children should be enrolled in public education. They should be receiving health care and housing and food assistance. You know, we've all seen them living in parks. You know, all the long lakeshore, you would see them underneath those art sculptures. You know, they went all the way down, you know, from McCormick Place all the way down Lakeshore. And I have the like utmost belief that they are living, you know, in that section of Lower Wacker. Because when you walk along Lakeshore, you run across that like trail that just keeps going farther down. But when you're walking along that trail next to the pier, Lower Wacker is like not even a block away, and it is a like waterproof large man-made area with like limited visibility. And if I were desperate enough to be in that position, I would be living, you know, in Lower Wacker. Like, I have nothing but empathy for these people and believe that there is so much more we could be doing for them. Instead, we've just been letting them exist like separate from us, the same way we allow our homeless residents to exist separate from us. I had a pork chop sandwich earlier, and that really frazzled my mind. You know, while I was eating that pork chop sandwich, it occurred to me that our like newly migrated residents weren't even always homeless. Like when they were living in, you know, Colombia and Venezuela, like a lot of these people have children, which means that a lot of these people had like homes of their own. Like they had houses, they had apartments, they had jobs, they had like education and careers. And like now they're just straight up homeless. And I find it really hard to wrap my head around that. You know, just this sort of like lifestyle shock of like leaving all that behind, walking, you know, 1,000 miles just to wind up being put on a bus and rendered completely homeless.